Everyone, welcome. And we're just doing a little tech testing here. Can you hear me? Any sound? I guess it's going to be delayed by 30 seconds or something. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Just setting up our tech. Don't touch anything. There we go. All right, sound goes off, muted. Okay, welcome everybody. Hi, so good to see you. Thank you everyone for coming. Hi to Mike from Switzerland, Solrak from Miami, Pat from Cambridge, Ontario, Christine from North Carolina, Kenneth, Scheller, Buddy. So good to see you. Glad that you're here. You can zoom out to normal. Hi Mo and Reiki and Jean. Welcome everyone. So glad you're here. So can you reduce so I can see the whole screen? It's zoomed out. It's zoomed in. We need to zoom out to 100% so we can see the screen. Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming and welcome. And you're only going to see my hands today. You're not going to actually see me because I don't want to mess with the tech because I'm terrified that it will not work out as it's supposed to. So, tech issues. If your screen is looking blurry right now, you need to click on the gear in the bottom, it would be the bottom right corner, that little gear button, and bump up the resolution to the highest, whatever it is for you, 1080, 720, whatever that is. And also you want to go with a full screen. So there's an icon in the bottom right corner of your screen if you hover over it, and you'll see something that allows you to fill your whole screen so you can see what we're actually doing. Now, the reference photo was sent in an email. It's also available on the website online. You can click on it and save as. We are going to be going with this reference photo right here. So you might want to print it off. I have another, I have my laptop open in front of me, so I'm going to be able to stretch it and open it up, make it zoom in so that I can see some of the details. So I'm going to work with this a little bit to show you what I'm doing, but I'm actually going to be looking at the image on my laptop. Anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome. So glad that you're here. So excited. I have beside me my right-hand woman, who's actually at my left hand, Caitlin. My daughter is here. Say hi, Caitlin.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. So she's going to read some of the questions out loud. Are there any questions that we have right now that need immediate answering?
I'm just seeing one question from Paul, and he says, Brenda, will this stay on your YouTube channel for those who want to watch now and sketch later?
Yes, absolutely. It's recording right now, and it'll appear, I don't know, I think this is my first time doing a live demo on YouTube, so you guys are all my guinea pigs. And but my understanding is that it's recording now, and it will appear on the YouTube channel later. I don't know if that's within 24 hours. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit later, yeah. So yeah, let's just start right in. I'm going to be sketching this image using a pencil, and I just use a mechanical pencil, and I'm going to be using my retractable eraser. I'm going to be doing that lightly just to get the big shapes in and kind of sort of feel comfortable in the space that I'm sketching in. And then I'm going to use pen. I use Faber-Castell and watercolor. And if you don't have to do it that way, you can just do it in black and white, however you want to do it. And I would love it if you would share the sketches with me, if you would, wherever you post it on social media, if you would hashtag Studio 56 Boutique. It'd be super cool to see how you handle this sketch. Now, any other techie issues to talk about before we get started? I think we're good. Okay, everybody seeing the screen okay?
Yep, everything looks good in the chat. Just let us know if you have any questions in the chat, everyone, and I'll ask them live to my mom.
Yeah. Hi, Eileen. Annie. Hi, Annie. And we just hung out in Seville 2 weeks ago with Annie and with Eileen, my sketching buddy. So great to see you. And Ken was there as well. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start with this scene right here of a tower and church in Venice. And this church is called San Giorgio Diagra Church in Venice. It's a Greek Orthodox church. It's just a short walk from the Piazza San Marco and the Doge's Palace. And it has been around since 1548. So the Greeks arrived in, I think background information is important. The Greeks arrived in Venice after the capture of Constantinople in 1453, and they weren't allowed to have a church at the beginning because the Pope wouldn't allow them, but eventually he allowed them to build their own church, and they did. And this bell tower, the Campanile, this bell tower is leaning. And it's one of 3 leaning bell towers that are still standing. They've had some other leaning bell towers that have actually collapsed. But right now there's over 100 bell towers in Venice, and this is one of the 3 that are leaning. And this one has been leaning since before the construction was completed. The foundation of this bell tower crumbled during construction, and those crazy Greek Venetians decided, let's just keep going and build this bell tower anyway. And so that's what they did. And I love this bell tower. It's one of my favorites because I love the dome on the top and the really airy crucifix on the top of both the bell tower and the dome. I don't know what the meaning is of that kind of crucifix, but it's so pretty. And I love that it's all white, and then it sort of has this bluish dome on the top. And so I chose this image. It's right out of Wikipedia because I like the simpleness of the color scheme. You've got blue, you've got white, you've got green, and then some variations in there. There's some great shadow on the sunny side of the building and of the tower. And so I love the simplicity of the color scheme. That really appealed to me. And I also liked it because I like how the foliage is working in this image, because it's like a solid shape. And I love drawing topiary. I think that's super fun. And so I just like the shape of this foliage, which is very easy to sketch and simple to do. So that's why I chose this image. So just to point out, this image is probably a little warped from the photography, like from the photograph. So as you can see, while the bottom of this bell tower is, you can see from the bottom to the top how it's warped, how it's leaning. But this building here also seems to be leaning a little bit as well. And I don't think it is in real life. It's just that the camera has warped the image and made it look like that. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. While it might work to sketch something like a tower that's leaning, it might not work to sketch the tower and the building both leaning, because it won't read unless you really want to go with a funky kind of sketch. And so before I even put my pencil on the paper, I always stop to just look at the image and think about, how do I want to handle this image? What is important to me about this image? And just make a little plan in my head about how I want to sketch it. So there's a lot of detail here which I can't see in this printout, but I have it on my laptop, so I can zoom in and see the detail a little bit better. So there's a lot of detail here. I'm not going to sketch all the detail. I'm not going to go for photorealism, and I'm not going to go for full funky. I'm going to go for somewhere in the middle. So that's my plan. So just before we get started, we're just going to look at some of the perspective points on here. And I know I've taught some of you and told you don't use a ruler, and I really don't think you should use a ruler for measuring, but it's okay to use a ruler to create a straight line. But after you've created it in pencil, I would recommend, if you're going to use a pen, go over it without the ruler, because if you have these perfectly straight lines, it's going to suck all the charm out of your image. So just to check, where is the vanishing point? And maybe I need a pen, actually, something thicker, just to check where the vanishing point is for this tower. we're going to look at any two horizontal edges, and we're going to see where they converge. And wherever those two horizontal edges converge, that's the vanishing point. Okay, so this is a 2-point perspective image. So you can see one side and the other. You can see two sides of it. And all the horizontal edges are going to converge on a vanishing point over here for this side of the tower and over here for this side of the tower. And the same goes for this building. Now, it's likely that they're not converging on the same vanishing points because I'm not sure that they're parallel to each other. So we'll just see. So the vanishing point for this tower is here on this side, and it's approximately, let's see what we can figure out, approximately, okay, approximately, it's way over here on this side. So that's just, it's off the page. So that's just information so that you know where it lines up. But as I said, the tower's leaning, and also it's probably not going to line up with this building. So this one is looking a little bit funky, and got a vanishing point that is likely over here somewhere, right about here. Okay. So, and these buildings here are not going to line up with any vanishing points because the canal is curving around. So they'll all have their own vanishing points as well. But vanishing points are just a tool. It's really not about vanishing points. It's about the sketch. The sketch is what we're doing. The vanishing point is just a tool. All right, so that's just some information to keep in mind. Now, let me see. Can I see if this is lining up in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be working on a Stillman and Burn. I just want to make sure it's in the middle there. Stillman and Burn. Okay, just trying to line it up so it's, there we go. I'm going to be working on a Stillman and Burn sketchbook. And I'm only going to use the one side. I'm not going to sketch on the other side. Okay. So, to start. Alright, so to start. So to start, I'm just going to think about where these shapes are going to fit on my page. And I'm just going to make some rough shapes lightly with pencil to get started. And this is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to make a straight line going down for, and it's not very straight, but I'm going to straighten it up later, it's fine, for this bell tower. It's slightly leaning. Did I lean it enough? Let's just see. Oh, we got approximately 6.5, 6, okay. That's leaning slightly. And then there's a little space in between here. And then we've got some buildings over here. And then we have this other building here. And this building is crazy leaning. Let's create, let's see, something like that. Okay. The middle and something like that. Okay, I'm not going to go right to the edge because I think it kind of always looks like, when you go right to the edge, it always looks like you kind of cut the photo off, which this photo is cut off, and I don't want to do that. I'm just going to kind of soften the edge and not fill it all the way in. And this foliage is going up here. I got a little shape. So we're just looking at shapes. That's what I'm doing, just looking at shapes. And then that roof line is coming something like here. And it's bending down. So we'll worry about that later. And then the foliage is, let's see, second floor there. And this foliage is going up like this. So I'm just making the foliage like a shape. Coming down. Okay. Now, we're going to bring this back to look at this, the canal. And just sort of get that angle. So the canal is going like that. And it also will have a vanishing point over here somewhere because this horizontal edge and this horizontal edge are going to converge on a vanishing point. So it's like over here somewhere. Okay. Now, but I'm doing it just as a, I'm just eyeballing it here. And let's see, something like this. Oops, that's not even straight. There we go. Something like that. And then let's just get the shapes in here, something like that. Okay. And at the base of this tower, pretty much at the base, there's a little opening in the wall. Okay. Yep. There we go. So this bit of foliage here is right over top of that wall. And then the wall continues. And then here's a building. Okay. And something like that. Okay, and then there's something behind it. That's coming up like this. And it's very narrow from this perspective. Going down. And there's something behind it. And then it kind of goes off. So I'm not sure, we can't really see much more over there. But that's okay, it's not important. Okay. And then here we have some roof line. Not very much, a little bit. And I have to zoom in because I can't really see it so well. Okay. And we have a little roof line here, and it's a bit higher on this side. The building's a bit higher on this side. And then there seems to be a lower piece. Okay. It's coming like that. Bit like that. That's too much. And then there's a little roof here. And then there's a roof behind. Okay. And then here there's another little roof here. And this, you can just see a little piece of this roof. And then we got an angle over here. Okay, so that's going to be fun to do all those little windows over here, but we'll get to that later. So for now, let me just zoom out again. I just want to get the proportions right. So we're only seeing, we're seeing more of this side than of this side. And I'm going to use my ruler here. And I think this is a bit over. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, I've got this edge is here. And then we've got this shape right here is, it's about as high as it is wide. So, an angle like that, and then you have a roof like this. Now, I put this center line to show me where the point of this roof is going to be, right there. And then this is coming at a bit more of an angle like that. There we go. So that helps me. And also there's a cross there. So a cross is a little bit off center there because it's set back a bit. And okay, I'm going to take some questions in a minute. I just want to get, so if you look at this line that's showing the horizontal edge on this tower, you can see it kind of helps you to line up where it is in terms of height. This little edge here compared to the top of this building. So it's a bit higher than that. It's like right about here. And then it's coming down. And then there's a couple of windows. And then we have another edge, a little ledge. And then it comes up some more. It's a bit thinner. And then we have another ledge. And then we have our dome. Okay. Something like that. A little thing on the top. And our cross. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to put in the basic shapes and then I'll take some questions. So here we're going to look at this dome here. now. And we're just comparing, what we're doing is just comparing one shape to another and figuring out like a crossword puzzle where they would go. And so where this meets, there's like a little, you can see a little bit of the the main body of the dome. And then the dome is coming up from here. Like this. Have I got the height right? Just compare how tall it is to the top of this building. So it just comes under that edge there. Yeah, that's about right. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you know what? We're not architects. We're not designing. We're not designing these buildings. We leave that to the professionals. We're just drawing them for fun. Okay, so now on this building here, you can see there's a couple of windows. I'm probably just going to put one in and then kind of fade off. So there's like pillars and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put one window in here. And then there's a whole bunch of things here. And the same with this. So this building here. So here, it's kind of divided into three parts. You've got the circular window, and then you've got these two indentation, I don't know what they're called. And so you can divide your building into three. And it's got a bunch of layers of roof line here, and then it's got this circle. And I can already see something is not quite right because there's not this much of a space between the foliage and the bottom of the circle, bottom of this window. So I probably made this building a bit too tall. And that's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm not gonna fool around with it right now. I'm gonna leave it. Just leave it, it's fine. It's not that important. Or maybe I actually probably just made the foliage too low. There we go. Okay. You know, it's kind of so weird to just be talking to myself. Oh. I know my daughter's itching to say something smart-ass right now.
No, I'll be good.
All right, so we're going to make the foliage a little bit higher. In here. Okay, I'm almost finished with shapes now. And that kind of goes like that. And happy to take questions.
Right now?
Yeah, so if you have questions. Okay, so I'm going to be finished. I'm going to say that I'm finished with shapes for now. And just be happy with what I have. I got to put this little Fisher guy or whatever he is, delivery guy in here. But so for now, I'm just going to stop for a minute and see if there are any questions that need answering.
There's only one question so far, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Mm-hmm. The first question is from Karen. The only question. Oh, okay. She says, "Which type of Stillman and Burns sketchbook are you using? As there's so many."
Hi, Susan.
Yeah, and Aunt Sue's in the chat. I wanted to mention also.
Oh,
Hi from India, by the way, and also we have folks from the UK. Happy Jubilee weekend.
Oh, okay.
I hope you got some Pims. We have folks from Surrey and from Wisconsin, Ohio, Deborah, bonjour de Paris, and Paul from Texas.
Yay! So this is a Zeta series sketchbook. Zeta series. It's and it's I think it's like 8 by 10 is what I'm guessing. Now this is an 8. No, so it's a bit smaller. So I don't know what that is. A bit smaller than 8 by 10. Oh, no, maybe it is 8 by 10 because this is 8 by 11. What am I saying? Yeah, so it's probably 8 by 10 when you close it. Okay, so any other questions? No? Okay. All right, so this is my basic shape. I've got it slightly leaning, and I think I'm good. I think I'm pretty happy with the proportions and so on of my sketch. And I'm probably going to adjust it. So what I usually do is I put some pencil down like this. And then when I go to add the pen, I think, oh, why did I do that? That's not right. This angle isn't right. And that's when I actually see it. So putting the pencil down is just my way of sort of dealing with the space, putting something down to start. Might not be perfect, but I'll figure it out as I'm putting the pen down. That's when I usually figure it out. So, okay, so I'm going to just deal with this wall a bit here now because I haven't done that yet.
So we have someone saying, well, Tracy is saying, hi Brenda, watching from New York, and hello everyone. Folks are going to paint this tomorrow. Someone would like to know if sketching live, if you draw on the perspective lines for the vanishing point.
If you draw on this, well,
when you're live, when you're sketching live. If you
I am sketching live right now.
Or maybe on location.
So I don't actually usually draw perspective lines when I'm on location or anymore. I only bring out that because I think it's good to know. I think understanding 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective is really good to know because it helps you. So what I find is sometimes I'll sketch like this without putting any perspective lines on my sketch. But then, I might get to a point where I'm like, that doesn't look right. What the heck did I do? And I know if I cite out the perspective lines and then I put them down on the paper, then it helps me to solve the problem. Because sometimes you just don't see things as they actually are. Your brain is filling in for you. And it's your brain wants to fill in for you, and sometimes your brain is wrong. So it helps to know how to figure it out if later it's looking wonky to you. So I think these are not quite right. These are not at a steep enough angle. I can see that right now already. So I'm going to have to fix that. And these are not right either. These lines here aren't right. So, but that's okay. I'll fix that. I'll get to that. So I'm just going to finish up down in this area a little bit because I haven't done much there. And I sort of feel like this piece here, right here, is wider than it is high. Or it's almost as wide as it is high. And here it's higher than it is wide. So that means I need to bring this bottom line up. And I'm going to do that with a ruler because it is quite straight. It is fairly straight. So I'm going to bring that up. So it's something like this. The angle might not be perfect. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm not designing the canals of Venice. They're already there. So, okay. So I'm a little bit happier with this shape here than I was. Okay. And so now over here we've got this sort of looks like you can go in there, which is quite interesting, or there with your boat, and you can get out, and there's like a little patio area in here. So, so I'm just going to put a little straight line there for that. And I'm just, guesstimating, not measuring, just guesstimating where that is. So that doorway is approximately here. Yeah, it's actually even more narrow than that. So put with that. And that this other doorway is more or less just below this rose window. So it's going to be like right about here, something like right about there. And it's a bit wider than this one. So that means that this little area here starts right here. And okay, so it goes something like that. And now I've got to show the thickness of it. So I'm going to put another line here to show the thickness of it. Something like that. And then there's a doorway in here. So I'm not seeing exactly how it goes, but it's something like this. And then there's an opening. And the opening is more or less straight, if you take a line straight down from the edge of this building. That's more or less where that opening is. Something like that. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of comparing one piece to another and figuring out where everything is by looking where this shape is in comparison to this shape. So the opening here is right about here. So this is the opening in here. And then there's, it looks like a little window or something. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at. Up in here. Something like that. Okay, so it's not perfect in the pencil stage. That's fine. It's just showing me where things are. So now I've got an opening. Now I just want to look at this great foliage hanging way down to here, and it kind of goes up, and there's a little window area in here. Maybe too big and too low. There we go. Fix that. All right, foliage goes up over the window, and then sort of over this doorway, and then it kind of comes up over here. And then there's there's got like some kind of thing on the top of this doorway with a ball on the top. Cool. I gotta check that out in October when I'm there. Okay, and then this foliage is right over the top of this wall. And there's a couple of windows here, piece of foliage here, another window here. And then it kind of goes up over here, this foliage, and then it's like a tree or something back there. It probably continues on, I can't really tell. Probably continues, and this is probably a tree in the back behind it. Okay, so something like that. It's a bit higher there. Something like that. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with those shapes. And then it's kind of going up here. So I want to just kind of fade off on this side. And this foliage is going down here. Something like that. And that goes right behind this edge. Okay. And so what you can see in this image is right here is a big shadow. It's from the building that's on this side. I'm gonna ignore that. I'm not gonna put that in. I'm gonna put this guy in, and I'm gonna keep this it won't be one shade of green, but I'm not gonna put this shadow in. So I'm gonna put this little boat in, and he is coming. His head is at the base of this building, right about here, and his boat is ending at this opening of this doorway. So that gives you sort of the relative size of the boat compared to the buildings. Okay. And it's going down like this. It kind of ends there. And he's really small compared to the buildings and the boat. And I don't know, it looks like his foot is up. Anyway, that's fine. It doesn't have to be, you have to know exactly what he's doing there. Something like that. I think I've even made him too big still, but that's fine. And they've got a bunch of stuff on here. I'm going to have to zoom in because I can't see what that is. Let's see. Oh, he's got some crates on there. And the front of this boat is going up, slipping down, up and down. The cool thing about Venice, it's so cool. I could just sit in a cafe and watch these boats go by all day long. They're so cool. Everything is delivered by boat, and you have to think what that would be like to live in a place where everything is delivered by boat. It's just crazy. All right, I have to zoom in even more because I can't see what is going on with this boat. That's really small. And I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna. There's red crates on here, and I'm not gonna put the red crates on because it won't make any. It will be too jarring compared to the rest of the color scheme. So, oh, this is much smaller. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got something that's ending sort of there, and then there's like the deck of it, and then there's something going across like this. Okay. I'm just suggesting. I don't have to. Well, he's got his elbow on one knee. And he's leaning over quite a bit more than what I have him leaning over. Okay. Something like that. I'm not going to worry about the person at this moment. Okay, now let's look at the windows on these buildings over here. As I said, they are all these buildings are probably lining up to their own perspective points because the canal is curving around. And so on this whitish building, there's 4 windows. Looks like 2 are closed. The blinds are closed on 2. So we can just do like this to show the bottom and top of these windows. And then there's like odd shaped windows, one there, like a little hole there, a little hole there. We'll deal with those later. And then here the roof is going up. And it's sloping down. something like that. And then there's a little piece sticking up here. It's hard to see. And there's like a chimney or something there. And then there's some, what do I see? Like 4 windows are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just making a line to represent the windows. There's like a little window here. And we'll get into more detail later. I'm just sort of citing out where things are. And then there's a doorway here. And 3 doorways, looks like. And a balcony that's coming out here. And there's a few more windows here. So, you know what? It doesn't matter that they're not, you can't see them. You really can't see them well enough to worry about it too much. And over here, even less. So man, can hardly see that, what that is. So I'm just going to sort of end there and put a few windows on the top. It's so weird talking to myself, believe me. All right, so there's something like that going on over there. I can't see any more of it. So I'm just going to leave that the way that is. Okay, any questions?
No questions from the chat, but if you have any questions, let us know.
People are busy.
Yeah.
People are sketching.
I almost perhaps move your paper off the other side of your sketch so that they can see the whole picture. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So there seems to be like a little edge here. So I've made it come down a little lower. Seems to be an edge right there, right along here. Okay, so on this wall there's a window, and then there's probably one underneath this foliage, but you can't see it. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now looking at this tower, these angles aren't right. I need this angle should be something more like about this. Yeah, something like this. And I am eyeballing here totally. And this dome is probably too big compared to the size of the tower itself. Dome is too big. It's going to be more like this. Okay, and it's got this little thing right here. Okay. Yeah, so that angle is something more like that. And this angle is quite a bit steeper than what I had originally put down. That's okay. It's something more like that. Now let me just have a look and see how I've done this. Even more. Something like that. Okay. All right, I'm good with that. And this one, something like that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay. So drawing this tower, I don't even have the vocabulary to describe all the pieces of this building because I'm not an architect and I don't know what everything is called. But I do know that this is a kind of these 3 pieces here that I'm pointing to are kind of a lip at the top. It's like an edge. And when you're drawing it, I usually do it with I just do a bunch of lines like that to kind of show the edge of it. That's how I handle it, because it doesn't matter. I'm not an architect, and I'm not trying to make it so that somebody can design. I'm not designing the building. So I'm just going to do something like that to show the edge. To show that this is the underside of I don't know, it'd be like an eaves or eave trough or something. If it were here in Canada, it would be anyway. All right. Okay, so up here there's some kind of a little railing, it looks like. And it sticks out a little bit from the edge. And you can't really see it on this side. Can't really see much. So, but there's some railing action happening in here. And this, I'm going to have to zoom in on my laptop because I can't see. Just a second.
You have a lovely comment from Rashri. who said, "You're a perfectionist, Brenda, floored already by the sketch and may faint after it's painted."
I don't think so.
Oh dear.
Oh, well, no. I know. It's so true.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so these little arches are in, they seem to be sort of framed somehow. There's like a little box up here for each one. And it's like a flat space in between. So the arch is inside that little rectangle box. And then, yeah, so we'll get more detail in here later with the pen. I do the detail in the pen, I don't do it in the pencil. And so, and the same on this side. This side is, the arches are inside a little rectangle shape. So something like that, okay? And let's push this, oops, where did it go? Okay, I'm just going to zoom this in a little bit again. So for the main body of this tower, we can see that the decoration on the outside, like the shapes that I'm looking at on the outside, they have like 3 columns on all sides, and the columns are flat columns, and there's probably a name for that, which I don't know what it is. And then we can see that there's 4 arched windows going down on this side and nothing on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just, with my ruler, make some straight lines. This piece here is gonna line up with what's below it. So something like that, right? And then there's another one here on the edge. And here, so I haven't done it so well here, but we'll fix it, no problem, not a big deal. Okay, so now you can see I've got the 3 sort of columns on this side, the flat columns, and then and then there's a clock, and we'll get to that. And then on this side it's the same thing. Now this side is so narrow that it's really hard to see. What I'm seeing mostly is the shadow from the edge. So it's going to be something like this with a little shadow there. And again, they're really close together now on this side, just the way we're looking at them. A little shadow. And if it's not perfect, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Okay, so at the top, there's some space here. I'm looking at this space right here. And the top of, what I'm looking at is the top of these flat pillars that are up against the edge. And I'm going to leave a space for it, like something like that. And then there's an arch in between, right about here. Yep, that looks like about right. Something like that. And then you've got in here is the top of these pillar things. And then the whole thing has got some kind of a edge down here as well. And now the same is going to happen on this side, except it's really hard to see. It's something like that, something like that. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, doesn't matter. It's just a drawing, it's just for fun. I'm just having fun. And I hope you're having fun. I'm having fun talking to myself. And cracking up my daughter Caitlin, who's like, oh wow, she's even more noodly than I thought she was.
I don't know if that's possible.
So, okay, so what we have here is the clock. And the clock is a circle. It's slightly warped, but not so much that, it's not, so okay, I just want to show you something. This clock, I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this, Caitlin?
There's a bit of a delay, so I can't. But okay. I can see on your paper, yeah.
Yeah, so it fits inside a square because it's a circle, so it fits inside a square. But the square is wonky because the horizontal edges are coming to the vanishing points over here.
And by the way, yes, you can see it.
Okay, good. So just below these 2 little arches, I'm going to make a little box. Something like that. Little box. And this edge is coming to the same vanishing point as all of these, right? So it's going to be something like that. And then I'm going to make my circle inside this box. Okay? And then we have an arched window right about there, too wide a bit. And got another one right below it. And then we got another one down here. And are they evenly spaced? They seem to be more or less evenly spaced. Okay, I'm just eyeballing it. So there's our 4 arched windows. And I am happy. This is a little too fat. A little too fat up there. Take some of that off. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. That looks kind of fun. And then down here, let's look at that. We've got some windows. The windows are more or less the same size. I'm just going to make some boxes like this. And so there's one window. How far apart? About the same as the width of the window. There's another window. And there's another window here. And this foliage shouldn't be in the way. Another window there. So there's our 4 windows going across. And there's a little chimney here. And then there's some super cool, you never see this in Canada, oval windows there. Love it, love it, love it. And there seems to be like a little decorative roof thing with some terracotta tile right there. And then, let me just move this up. Move the screen up. Okay, and then we've got some eaves trough that comes down and over. All right, I'm happy with that. And our clock, we've got some I'm just penciling in to show me later how it's going to go. Okay, so let's look at this building now. This building, very interesting. I'm not an architect. I don't even have the words to describe. I wish I did. Yeah, okay, so what we have here, this roof line, this shows the thickness of it. So this is like a decorative piece on the top of the building. There's nothing behind it, it's just air. And so it's got some dental stuff in there that's going to be fun to draw later. And I have to zoom in. Man, I can't see this on the printout.
Did you say dental stuff?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Up here, there's some dental things in here that will be fun to sketch later. It's a little bit thicker than that. It's more like that. And so, so this space is sort of divided into 3. It's got this doorway, or well, it looks like a fake doorway, window thing. And it's all within a sort of rectangle shape. And there's some, the flat pillar thing again. And then it's got this archway here. And the bottom of the archway is also lining up with all of the horizontal edges are all lining up to the same vanishing point that's over here. All of these. This line, the bottom of this half circle piece, this line, the bottom of these half circle pieces, this line that's buried behind this tree. All of these horizontal edges are all coming to the same vanishing point. Okay. And this circle is more like that. Okay, so up here, we've got some scrolly stuff happening right here.
So Deborah says dental, as in not dental like teeth, but it means lace. Dental. Beautiful.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
Anybody else have any comments, thoughts,
Merci,
questions?
Deborah.
All right. So now I see two little roof areas up here. Maybe Deborah is an actual architect.
Deborah, you should let us know. The only thing I know so far is that she knows what dental is, did not think it was teeth, and she's from Paris.
Yay! I love Paris. I'm going to be in Paris next week. Super excited to be leading a travel workshop there with Ian Fennelly. Okay, so here we have these 2 areas that are it sort of looks like a fake window. I don't think there actually is a window there. It's just a, and again, I'm going to have to look online because this photo, this printout is not telling me anything. It's too, okay, and they are also in some kind of a little rectangle shape. Okay, and something like that. I think they're a bit bigger than that. Well, maybe, yeah, I'm going to make that the edge right here. Come a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, and the bottom of the rectangle is sort of up here. And again, this horizontal edge is coming to a vanishing point over here. And then they have some kind of fancy flat pillar, and there's sort of a half circle above that and a half circle above this. And inside is a shell shape. That's going to be fun to draw later. Okay, and then they've got something coming out here like that. I do not have the language, even in my own language, to describe what these things are because I don't know. Okay, so that's a good start. There's some kind of a, let's see, up here there's some kind of a, well, it looks like a flat Corinthian pillar. So there's some curly stuff going on up in here. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to put in every single detail. I'm just going to suggest there's a circular window here, and we can't see it on the other side. And the pillar, that flat pillar kind of goes around the corner. And then there's a bunch of under roof things there. And then right here in this corner is another one of these. It's I see like a shell shape in there. Okay, something like that. All right, and so I'm much more careful when I do the pen, and I correct any mistakes that I've made in the pencil. It's fine. I correct it later in the pen. So that means it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. I'll correct whatever mistakes I've made later. Okay, so here, just over from here, we've got an arched window. Okay. And there's a little something here, and these are coming down straight. The one that's closest to you is going to be coming straight, and then the rest are going to arch around like that. And this is actually going up now that I can see it. Now that I have it blown up on my laptop, I can see what it actually is. It's kind of, I don't even know how to describe this shape. Cool. Describe it as cool. And then it kind of has a little point here, and there's a circle thing. There's another globe shape here, and then it's got this stuff on the top. So we want to, this is kind of important that these are lining up nicely in the middle. Otherwise it's going to look weird. It's going to be off. Okay. And then this building, let me just scroll down. Okay, so this building has got a kind of, oh, I think it's a rounded pillar. Ooh, rounded pillars. Right there. And so in here some railing, and I got to tell you, this is the kind of railing that I find really hard. And so this is what I do. I do some S shapes, and it gives you the basic idea of what that shape is. Like, you know, that it's one of those kind of railings that have like bulbous shapes to it without it being perfect, because I don't have that kind of patience. And then there's some kind of triangle shape on the top, and it's like is it Corinthian or Doric? Can't tell. Some kind of curly thing going on up here and going on up here. And then there's another doorway here, but I'm not going to put that in. And then this is just basically shadow down here. I can't really see much. Okay, I'm happy. And there's some dental. Maybe that's the French way to pronounce it. I don't know.
Well, Deborah says it's from the French.
Oh.
And so she, by the way, wishes you a good trip.
Thank you.
And Ginny says, can you imagine what Ian Finale could do with this too? Which I suppose everyone should follow along what the trip looks like next week. The kind of art that's going to be produced from Paris.
Yeah, this isn't Paris. This is
Venice.
Venice.
It's making me want to switch my Duolingo to Italian.
Yeah.
And Karen says she calls dentelle squiggly bits.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm really happy with this. I think I've more or less got the angles the way they should be, and I've captured them. And so now I'm going to put in some pen work. And I'll just show you my sketching kit, because I know if you're an artist, everybody loves to see artist sketching kits. And my sketching kit has too much stuff in it, but I've taken so many workshops with all the artists at Studio 56 that I have to carry what they're working with, and so I've got all kinds of stuff. I don't use a lot of it. So today I'm going to be using watercolor kit, tissue. I already have a ruler, might not need that. And I'm going to be using this is a travel brush. I think it's a size 8. And for this size of a sketch, this is all I need, is this travel brush, size 8. And so my pen. Now I'm going to think about the pen, because sometimes line work, I might go small. I might just do a 0.1, because sometimes the line work it looks different depending on the size of the pen that you use. So that's a +1. Maybe I'll go a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll do a 2.
Ooh.
Go crazy.
Things are shaking up.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Yes, Pauline says great railing trip, by the way, so thank you for the S's comment that you made.
Yeah.
And Karen says, what sort of case do you keep all your kit in? It looks amazing.
So I got this kit online through Amazon, and it doesn't seem to have a brand on it. All it says is paint your colors, believe in yourself. Oh,
do you believe in yourself?
I paint my colors, believe in myself.
Good.
Isn't that nice?
Lovely.
Yeah, I believe in me. So what I've decided is I'm going to sketch with a 0.3. That's what I've decided. I made a decision, and that's what I'm doing. So I don't know the name of this brand. If I knew, I would definitely tell you. I like it. It's got a zipper pocket on this side to put some things in, and it holds a lot, and it lies flat, and when you zip it closed, nothing is falling out. And it has a handle on this end, so I can just carry it like that. So I've tried lots of different pencil cases, and this is the one I like because I can see everything. So, sorry, I wish I could give you the brand.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to look it up later.
They can look it up. Okay, so I'm going to start with my pen now, and I'm really excited. And this is where, if I've made a mistake, I can correct it, because the rest of it's going to be erased. I've drawn it quite dark. I don't usually draw it this dark in pencil because it's a little bit harder to erase, but I want to make sure that you can see it. Let me just have a look and see what you're looking at.
It's going to take a second to get
Oh,
there.
there's a lag. Wow, it looks like my pencil case looks like a sketching store.
Yeah.
It's a art supply store.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I drew this a lot darker in pencil than I normally would. Because I wanted to make sure you could see it. So let's start with the pen. Is everybody excited? Everybody ready? Anybody have any questions? Let's see.
Rajshri says, it's surely a magical kit, an extension of your magical art.
Oh, come on.
I can see some sparkles coming out of her fingers today,
she
Rajshri.
Cool. All right, so let's add our pen. So I'm pretty happy with this, with the shapes that I've drawn. The only thing I think maybe not quite right is probably this angle here. This angle on this building probably is a little steeper than what I've drawn it. But I think it still reads okay, and it's probably fine. I could, you know, I can make it a little sharper of an angle there. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think it'll read. It'll be okay. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with this building right in here. And that's going to be super fun. And I've got a 0.3. And let's just try it and see how it looks. I can quickly, probably this, yeah, this is probably too steep up here. So I can see that I've made this too steep and not wide enough. So I can just fix it with my 0.3. Yeah, okay, that looks okay. So there's this, these little notches in here, put them in, super fun. And just as a short form, I often do like 2 or 3 lines underneath, because I know that there's, whatever that is, like that eaves trough bit is there. You can't, I don't know what it's called, can't always see it, but what the point is to give the impression that, to indicate what it actually is. It's some kind of a ledge or something. Okay, and we've got a pillar thing here.
Oh, Mom, I'm seeing that. Okay, you have to watch putting your head in the camera.
Oh, okay.
Because your hair is in the camera and it puts the sketch out of zoom,
Okay.
out of focus.
I can see that this half circle that I've done is too wide, too deep. It's more narrow like that. Okay.
Mom, you're really gonna have to lean back. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry if my head was in the way there. And
it's proof that you're here. You're in the room.
Yeah. Okay. And so inside, underneath this half circle thing is this. It's like it looks like a inverted seashell. And so I'm going to just do a little thing like that to represent it. And then there's like 2 windows there. Okay, it's just too small to get into a lot of detail. And then we have this triangular shaped roof. I would like to move my book, my sketchbook. But if I do, you won't be able to see it. So it's a little...
To resist.
Yeah. Okay, something going on like that. Okay, and then there's several lines of like eaves trough, is what we'd call it here in Canada, going on here. And how many lines of eaves trough are there? It doesn't matter. We're just giving an indication. Once you put these down, then it'll all read and it'll make sense. But drawing it exactly with a smaller pen and everything, it doesn't matter. Okay, so, and I see that I've missed a bit. There's a bit of, this is in a sort of rectangular box, and then our half circle is underneath that. Okay, and then the edge of the building comes right down, and yeah, it's probably interrupted here, but the can't really see it through the leaves. So I'm just going to do something like that. And here's the corner. And it's fine if it's not exactly. Okay. And then here we have like this flat pillar thing. And that. And this is kind of going like that. And then we have this rose window. So the rose window, a little bit more of an oval shape. Something like that. Okay, so there seems to be a frame around this. And then inside is our, that sort of shell shape. Super cool. I like it. Okay, some kind of trim here. And then there's this piece that goes like that. Something like that. Okay. And then it looks like a flattened Corinthian column. So, I mean, you can't really see anything. You can't really see what it is. It's just too small. So I'm just going to make some squiggles to represent the acanthus leaves that you usually see on a Corinthian column. Yes, and you should be impressed that I know that those are called acanthus leaves.
I'm impressed.
Okay, and here we have this, another one of these shell-shaped windows, kind of going like that. Gosh, it's so small, I can't really see it. It's just like a little shape like that. And yeah, there we go. Good. All right, I'm happy with that building. And it's got a little circular shaped window here, blocked by this foliage. All right, so our dome is coming like this. And it's like a little eave, or I don't know what you would call it otherwise. And there's some of this dental work. And I'm just putting it in quickly because it's fun. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And there's a little arch window there. And I'm assuming that the edge is here. I can't really see it, it's cut off in this photo. And so then I'm going to draw in my dome. And I'm going to put in these lines. I think I got it. Did a pretty good job in pencil. I have to correct it. Doesn't have to be perfect. So here there's some kind of an opening, probably has to do with letting the humidity out of the roof or something. There we go. All right, now this is kind of got this shape here, quite dark, and this is what I'm seeing. And then it goes up, and then there's some kind of a ball here, and then, gosh, I really can't see that. And then there's like another one there. Not sure that that's a sphere. It might be something else, but I can't see it, so good enough. Okay. And then at the top there's like a flag or something. And I love all these little balls on the end. Yeah, it goes off. There's another one. Fun. That's probably way bigger than it needs to be, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to do this little building here now. And you can see like a little bit of edge of the roof, but not a lot. I'm sure it's a terracotta roof. But you really can't see it, so it doesn't really matter. And it's got some of these little dental, or however you say it, shapes. And go like that to the edge. And then, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to really zoom in. How many people are looking at this on a printout? And how many people are looking at it on zooming in on a laptop?
Yeah, let us know. By the way, Aunt Sue says she's fascinated watching you work because you draw about 100 times faster than she does. You are pretty speedy, truly.
Okay, so I'm just going to put in, so I've just faked some little curly cues for the, whatever the top of that is. It might be a Doric column. I can't really see, it's too small. But it's got some kind of decoration up here, so I just put a few curly cues just to represent it for fun. All right, and then there's a triangular piece here. And then the doorway is here. I love to draw, honestly. So fun. So fun. Okay, and I'm going to put a little railing here. Some kind of a railing.
So Mo says he uses his laptop.
Okay, thanks, Mo. And I'm not, there's more here in here, but I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to leave it because it doesn't matter. You can't really, it just kind of cuts off anyway. So I'm just going to put a few lines here to represent the bottom of that first floor. I don't know if, I can't really see it. It doesn't matter. It's not that important. And then there's some stuff going on in here, but I can't see what it is. So that's it for that side of the building. Now I'm going to move over here to this, to the tower. I'm going to start at the top. And I'm just looking at how I did this dome, and I think I didn't get the shape quite right. It's a little bit bigger, and it's coming over here a little bit more. Just a tiny bit more over here. Okay. So I'm carefully drawing it in like that. And again, it has the same shape as over here. And the midpoint is, the midpoint's not bad. Midpoint maybe a little bit over. So I'm just going to do this in pen, even though I didn't do it in pencil. And I'm not going to be picky about it. See? There we go. Good enough. I've got some kind of a circle sphere shape thing there, and then it goes straight up with a flag on the top, angle, and I can't make them all out, but I know that this one's got a couple of things sticking out like that. It's super cool. In real life, these look so cool. They look so airy and so pretty. Gosh, I love it, and I can't wait to see them in person in October with Scott Christian Sava. And I should probably tell you that Scott did, so this is not exactly right, obviously. It's wider, that should be taller than it is wide, but that's okay. Scott Christian Sava did a demo 2 weeks ago, I think it was, sketching a typical canal scene in Venice. And that demo, that free demo, is about the length of this one, hour and a half, and it's available on the Studio 56 YouTube channel where you're watching this demo right now. And it was recorded, and you can watch it on the YouTube channel. And it's a typical canal scene with the beautiful buildings and the canals and boats and so on. And Scott is going to be the teacher on our workshop in Venice in October. We have tickets available. Love it if you could join us. Scott is an amazing illustrator and artist, and he is also the writer and creator of an animation called Animal Crackers. And Animal Crackers is available right now. You can watch it on YouTube. No, I said that wrong. You can watch it on Netflix. And it's a very popular children's cartoon animation with really high production values, equal to like Pixar. Honestly, it's really good, with really well-known names in the voiceover actors. So Sylvester Stallone, Danny DeVito, John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, and a whole bunch of other voiceover actors that are quite famous. And he worked with them and produced this animation. So please go and watch the animation. You'll love it. And if you're able, we would love it if you could join us in Venice. And it will be my first time working with Scott, and he's super easygoing guy, really fun. We're going to run a little contest where we see who can spot and sketch the most winged lions in Venice. And the winged lion is sort of a motif for Venice. They're everywhere. They are everywhere. And we're just going to have a little contest, a little fun contest to see who can sketch the most winged lions in Venice. And that's going to be fun. And we're just going to sketch together some towers. We're going to sketch in, I know Venice is often crowded, but I believe that the cruise ships have been banned right now. They ban them and then they let them come back and then they ban them. And I think right now they've been banned from docking in Venice, and that's going to make a difference in terms of crowds. And we're going to be sketching in mostly the piazzas, some of the smaller piazzas, not the main one. You can't sketch in Piazza San Marco. You're not allowed. In fact, I'll just do a little show and tell. This is a sketch. Can I see what it looks like, Katie? Can you turn? This is a sketch that I did in the Piazza San Marco of the main bell tower in 2016 when I was there. And it's an unfinished sketch. And the reason it's an unfinished sketch is because they kicked us out. They told us to push off. Get out of here, you rotten, lazy,
Canadians.
no good artists. And they told us to push off, and I wasn't able to finish the sketch. But this is what I got so far. This is as far as I got on it. And I'm not going to be able to show you the whole thing because it's on it's a landscape sketchbook. And so that's as far as I got on that tower, which was super fun to do. And I'll show you a couple other towers. I did this tower last week, 2 weeks ago in Seville. This is La Giralda, and that was really fun to sketch. Really enjoyed sketching that one. It's 3-point perspective. And I'll just scroll to the bottom so you can see the bottom as well. And so yeah, that's La Giralda Tower. And I love doing towers. They're super fun. And there's 100 in Venice, so I'm really excited to sketch the towers. This is, in Canada, this is the Peace Tower on Parliament Hill in Ottawa that I sketched in 2014. And that was super fun to sketch. It's the neo-Gothic style of architecture. And I love the gargoyles at the top and all the doodads. It's super fun to sketch that one. And here's another land. This isn't a tower. This is the Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver that I sketched in 2014. And that was really fun to sketch as well. That's 3-point perspective as well. So I love sketching the landscape. Well, it's vertical, but it's on a landscape style sketchbook. So that was super fun. Anyway, so there's some towers. So I'm really going to be excited to sketch towers in Venice when we get there in October, and love it if you could join us. Okay, so do you have questions?
Yeah, Kenneth Scheller's asking, are those little balls lights? So I think you have.
Oh, at the top here. I don't think so, Ken. They're just, I'm sure it's made out of steel or whatever. They're just some kind of ball that they put on the ends of the crosses on the top. No idea why.
Would be a great chandelier though, I think.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
All right, let's keep going. So, yeah, so here's the top of this bell tower, and it has a little railing on it. Okay, and this is coming out quite a bit more. The pen doesn't want to flow. Okay, so I'm just going to make a couple of lines to indicate that we're looking at the bottom part of this ledge. Okay, and there's a railing on the top. And you can barely see it on this side. Something like that. And they also have, it's like that organic shaped bulbous kind of railing, but it's so far away, it's so small. I'm just going to do it like a railing because it doesn't matter. And we're just giving indication that it's a railing. Maybe do another line on the top. Okay, and I probably not left enough space between here and here. I admit that. That was a mistake. That's okay, doesn't matter. It's not important. Okay, so scrolling up to the next section. Okay, so something like that. And I can see that these arched openings, there's probably I'm sure there's bells in here, it's a bell tower, and I can see that the arch openings are framed. Something like that. but it's really small and really hard to see. So that's okay. Something like that. So now we have these openings. And there's like a little ledge in there, but I'm not going to bother trying to draw that because it's just too small. Put something here. Okay, and here on this side, we also have the two arches are in here somewhere. And you can't really see much. Something like that. Okay. And I'm just going to make some lines to indicate that there's a ledge here. Something like that. And talking to myself. Okay, so this little thing is sticking out a tiny bit. But otherwise, we can just do some straight lines going down. Now, I drew these lines in pencil with a ruler, but now I'm going to draw them freehand. Because I feel like if you do it with a ruler, it's just too straight, too perfect. The charm is in the imperfection of your drawing. So if I go off a little bit, if my line is a little bit wobbly, it's okay. It will be better, actually, than if I use a ruler to make these straight lines in pen. So I'm going to just draw really carefully right on the line that I've already done in pencil. And it's not going to be perfect. And it's better if it's not. It's better if it's not perfect. See right there, I went in a little bit too far. It's better, believe me, than if you do it with a ruler to make this line. Now I have to really look because these pencil lines are faint. Okay. And now there's some kind of a band going across here. And at the top of this arch, there's another, like this, another little decoration there. And I can see that it's got it actually has, it's like a double arch thing. It's really small. Okay, so I'm going to make this edge of this one. So there's a bunch of lines going down here. And I'm just going to do them freehand. Boy, that is faint. Cool. All right, so there's some kind of I think it's probably Corinthian acanthus leaves or something up here. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to do a little shape like a rectangle because I can't actually see it. It's just too small. And then I'm going to put in this arched window here. And I'm going to put in this clock. And it seems to have some kind of like a gear shape thing in the middle. And there's our one. I only see one hand on this clock. And I'm just going to make some little dots to represent the numbers. Good enough. And that's probably just good enough. And then I'm going to make another arched window here. Okay. And then over here, I'm just going to do a little, for this, the edge of this, the top of this column. Now this is really faint. Man, it's hard to see this. What did I do? Just draw very carefully on top of my pencil, not using a ruler. And there's an arch, and an arch, another one here. I'm probably not, I can see that there's some, you can see the shadow on the edge of these, flattened pillars. I don't know, it's not really enough room here to do them. on this size sketchbook that I'm working with. So I'm probably not going to worry about it. Okay, good enough. There's my tower. And so there's some decoration around these windows, but I'm working too small to bother with that, so I'm not going to do that. And now dealing with this building down here. Okay, so I'll put this roof in, something like that, and let's get some kind of a thing. This when things are so small like this, it's not that important. It doesn't matter. We're just indicating where things are, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about it. This is a terracotta roof. And there's probably something here, but it's too small to see. And we have oval windows and some kind of little decorative roof thing here.
So Paul Shane says some of those old clocks only have one hand.
Oh.
And you could probably estimate the time to the nearest quarter hour.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Paul.
That is really interesting.
Yeah. All right. Paul was just with me in Avignon.
No way.
Yeah. All right. So here is another chimney. Can't really see much. It's okay. Paul, you better be sketching. You're sketching and not just watching, right, bud? And some kind of roof here. And then it's kind of a terracotta thing. So when you're working this small, we're just indicating, we're just like suggesting where things are. And these windows don't have to be, we don't need the detail of the window.
Paul says,
Paul.
Oh, I think he's caught.
Okay. And I'm gonna, I can see that it's a terracotta roof, but
Paul says, I'll take the fifth. Paul, even I'm sketching over here. Okay, he'll sketch later.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this building here, I probably made it not tall. I made it too wide and not tall enough. That's okay. And that's all I'm going to do for the windows because it doesn't matter. It's just indicating where they are. And it's got some kind of weird holes in the walls. It does. And just got like an arched doorway there, and there's a balcony sticking out. See the bottom of it? A couple other more arches. So this is all I'm doing for the windows, honestly. That's all I'm doing. It doesn't matter. And the same here. Just gonna make some good enough. Okay, so now here we have the top of this wall, and we've got some kind of green stuff growing out over here, and there's an arch behind actually. That's pretty cool. And that. And there's a window here. And just gonna put some decorative stuff on it. Okay, and I can see right in here are two of the poles that stick into the water that the gondola riders or people like this fellow would tie his boat to while he's making a delivery. But if I put those sticks in here, I don't think it's going to read. You won't know what it is. So I'm just going to leave that out. And then up here we have some foliage. Now, for this foliage, I'm going to try to indicate it just by making a really squiggly line to indicate the foliage. That's it, just like that. And I'm going to do a lot of this later, but this is just to get the shape in for now. And it's hard to see, but I believe that there's a tree behind that this is actually continues on. And then it kind of drags down. It's kind of hanging down like vines or something. A lot of stuff hanging down here. Okay, and then there's a kind of a window shape here. And an opening. And the opening goes to about there. Something like that. And there seems to be like a little edge on it. Okay. And is my book still centered? My sketchbook?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then this is a doorway right here. Okay, and it's got some fancy brickwork here. It's pretty cool. And then I'm going to do like that to show that it goes in. And same thing happens here. Now I think there's probably some of this fancy brickwork behind here too. It's hard to see. Okay, and continuing on, I'm going to do this railing here, this edge first. And then this in the edge of the water. And this is the thickness of this railing, like that. Alright, and continuing on with our foliage, just with the squiggly lines. Alright, and then back here is some kind of a pillar and an opening. Right about here. Okay, and it goes like that. And the other side, did I mess that up? Yeah, I think I did mess that up. I messed that up. It's here. Okay, this is actually the opening. That's okay, I can fix it. I'm gonna make this the opening, and I'll show you how I'm gonna deal with that mistake later. Not a big deal. Okay. And then there's this tree that's coming out. I'm just going to use some squiggly lines to represent it. And we're almost ready to erase our pencil. Anybody have any further questions before we finish this bit of drawing in pen?
No questions at the moment, but guys, just put it in the chat if you have anything. Also, I just wrealized who Ken Scheller was. That's Ken.
Yeah, you know Ken.
I know Ken.
Yeah, Ken is our buddy.
Yeah, I met you in Mexico.
Ken and Sandy.
Yeah.
So at the front of this boat is a tire right here, and I'm not going to put it in because I think you won't be able to tell what it is. It's a weird thing that you're not sort of expecting to be at the front of a boat, so I think it will be hard to read. And, well, this should be more like this. And then there's a little bit of foam there. Okay, now this fellow is really leaning over.
There's great balance.
Yeah. And I think he has his elbow on his knee, but I really can't see much. I see a shirt sleeve. I just really can't see that, but I'm imagining he has, his elbow is on his knee somehow. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at there. Something like that, but that's okay, because you can tell that it's a person, and that's all we need. We're not doing portraits here.
Very far away portrait.
Yeah. And a bunch of things on his boat. Something like that. And I'll just do like this to show that there's okay, that's good enough for the boat. I think you can tell it's a boat, and that's all we need. And I kind of wish that I could see a little bit more here from this photo, but it really cuts off, and it just seems like an awkward place to cut off, but that's okay. All right, I'm really happy with my pen work. I'm going to add more pen work after, but for now, I'm going to erase my pencil, and then I'm going to add some watercolor, and then when it dries, I'm going to add probably a bit more pen work. Now, I always get pencil on the side of my hand, which rubs on the paper, so I'm going to erase way over here to get the smudge off the paper, so it looks nice and clean when I'm finished. I don't like dirty sketches. I don't really like that. Okay, how's everybody doing? Are you happy with your sketches? What do you think? How are things going? Let me know what you're thinking, what you're feeling right now. Write in the comments, and Caitlin, my left-hand woman, will help me. We'll read it out. And let me know how it's going for you. All right. I'm erasing. Oh, oops. Oh, this.
Such a satisfying thing to watch you erase these.
The pencil?
Yeah. Just cleans it right up.
Yeah. Oops, this keeps coming out. Or were you sketching, Caitlin?
Yes, but I didn't make it to the pen.
Okay.
So if I erase it, it'll be gone.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. Some people might just be sketching in pencil. They might not want to add the pen. Stephanie Bauer is not a pen person. I just spent a lovely week with her in Seville. She's not a pen person. She just does the pencil and then the watercolor. And her work is absolutely gorgeous. I love her work.
Ginny Stiles says she's keeping up and has a nice inked sketch, and it makes her happy.
Yay, Ginny. Thank you, Ginny, for playing with me today.
Yeah.
For coming out to play.
Yeah. And Mo says he's very behind but promising. We believe in you, Mo.
Well, you know what, Mo? This is recorded, so you know what? You can always go back and replay it. And just to where you seem to slow down, and anything you missed, you can add it later. Yay, Mo. I'm so glad you're here. Oops. You know, so I'm erasing parts that I haven't inked yet. So one thing I haven't inked is these little squigglies.
You have a little piece of wall missing on the tower, too.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And yeah, a piece here is missing. I erased that. And also there's a crucifix on the top of the facade of this church as well. And it's not quite at the point. It's a bit back. And the crucifix. The cross on the crucifix, the crossing point, is also lining up with the vanishing point. That's pretty cool, eh? I think so.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. I think I might have moved my camera a little bit. Let's have a look.
It'll take a minute to...
Yeah.
I'll show you.
And I noticed I erased the back end of this boat as well. That's supposed to be there. And there's something else I erased that I didn't have yet.
Joe is asking, what colors would you suggest for the watercolor stage?
So the thing that appealed to me about this image when I found it on Wikipedia is the color scheme, the local color, the blue and the white and the green actually really appeals to me. So I'm just gonna go with what I'm seeing. You don't have to. You can do it pinks and reds if you want. It's up to you. So I'm just looking at some of the things that I have erased that I thought I drew in, but I didn't. And I'll just draw them in now. Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm just taking some time to look and see what did I miss. And I'm pretty happy with my sketch so far. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move on now to the watercolor stage. And it's my watercolor kit, which I cleaned just for you guys.
Wow, you guys are lucky.
So I cleaned this just for you. I want you to know that. And now, let me just see if you can see the watercolors. Yeah, I think you should be able to see them. It's the opposite. You know what? Maybe I'll do it the other way around because I'm right-handed. Now, let me see if it fits the screen okay. If you can see that. Let's just have a look. And I have my little water jar and my paintbrush. And I'm going to pull out a tissue. All right, yeah, I'm gonna switch the sides there. Okay, so I'm gonna move this over a tiny bit. So there, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so I think what I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna start with the shadows on the building. And because they're the most fun part, and I'm going to leave the whites white, and I'm going to work on the shadows with a little combination color that I'm mixing. Now don't even ask me what my colors are exactly, because I don't know the names of these colors because I put them in here a long time ago, and that would just be too technical for me. To tell you the exact colors. I can tell you the approximate colors, but I can't tell you the exact brand. So don't ask, I don't know. I don't remember. So I'm gonna mix a little sort of a bluey, I'm getting a bluey purpley color. So I know this is ultramarine blue. And so I'm gonna put some ultramarine blue in here. And I'm getting like a little bit of a gray-ish. And so I'm going to put a little black in, a tiny bit. And I have some white gouache. I know some of you are like cringing. No, she's not. I'm going to put a little bit of this purpley red in.
Such a rebel, Mom.
I know. There. So I've got like a little magic solution here, and I think that's the color I want to go with. Is it appearing? Can you tell?
Yeah. But perhaps maybe just move everything over just a couple centimeters. Yeah. There you go.
So it's a more of a, I don't know if you can see that. It's a more of a purpley blue. I used ultramarine, and then I put in a more of a purpley red. And so there's a tiny bit of a purple in there. So more of a reddy blue. And then I put a bit of white and I put a bit of black in. And I'm going to very carefully put in the shadows. And this brush might have too much paint on it. We'll see how it does. So I see some lines that I've totally missed, and that's okay. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna put some in here. I'm just dabbing to get it on there. And I'm gonna go right over this whole piece up here and halfway across. And I'm just gonna dab it so that it sucks more water off my paintbrush. And I see some shadow in here and down one side. And I see that there's some right across here. So half of this shape is in shadow and half isn't. And this little triangle roof part is. And I'm just dabbing it so that it sucks the liquid off my paintbrush. And in this triangle shape here as well, I'm going to do this whole wall right down. And you know, we can go in later and add another layer if some parts seem to have more shadow, like a deeper shadow than other parts, like right in here. This seems to have a deeper shadow than the whole wall, and that's okay, we can add it later. And then in this half circle, and this whole side here is in shadow, but on a bit of an angle. There's a bit of an angle there. And right underneath this eave, and I'm just going to let it suck the water off the paintbrush, the water and the watercolor off the paintbrush. And there's some bit on the inside of this circle, very tiny bit. And inside here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not aiming for perfect. Just giving an indication where the shadow is, and underneath here is shadow. There, I like that. That was fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I missed some lines up in here, but that's okay, I can add it later, no problem. And so underneath here, I'm going to do the whole thing in this same mix of blue. And on this whole triangle area. My dog is snorting.
A grumbly beagle.
My dog is snorting in the background. He didn't like the blue. He's like, oh.
He's a very picky guy.
Okay, and down this pillar, tiny bit. And underneath here is quite dark. So I'm gonna let it suck this paint off my paintbrush, and I'll go back with another layer later to darken it up a bit more, because it is quite dark. It's a darker shade. So that's pretty cool. I like how the white is shining through here. I'm missing some lines. That's okay. I'll add it after. And this whole back part here, I'm going to do in this magic blue. And I'm going to add this later. On the back, there's a bit of shadow in here, but I can add it later. I want to first put the color on, and then I'll add the shadow after. Okay, now the tower. So the tower, I'm going to do the whole thing right down this whole side in this blue. And I will put the deeper shadows in the arches later. Okay, let's scroll up a little bit. On my laptop. So the whole thing I'm going to do in this one color. And this one blue. And this side of this building. And all of this over here. And I'm going to darken those windows later with pen. Okay, and let me just scroll up again. That looks pretty cool already. I really like that. I like the white against the shadow, against the white is pretty cool. I like that. And I'm going to do this side of this building and up here. Okay, anything else I want to do? Probably do in here, this little shape in here. And the rest is a lot darker, so I'm going to wait and do it later. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to mix a color for the domes, these two domes. So what I see is that I'm guessing it was maybe copper or something at one point, and but it does appear blue. Usually copper when it what is that called? What is that called? When it rusts, but it also changes color because of the air hitting it, and it usually goes kind of green. But these are kind of blue. So I'm gonna start with a different blue. Take out the black part. So this blue had the ultramarine, some black, and some white in there, and I'm gonna not put in the black. So I'm gonna go with ultramarine again. Add some water, and I'm just gonna add some white, probably quite a bit of white, to get that color.
Joe says oxidizes. I think
yeah, oxidizes.
It's ionization, right? The ionization process.
Or I don't know. So just to be prepared, I'm going to use this blue for the roof top for these onion domes, but I'm prepared. I want to add a little bit of that rusty color into it, so I'm going to prepare it in advance so that so that I'm ready. So I'm just putting a little water here, and it's just a bit of this sienna. Oh, a bit more than that. Okay, so I'm going to let the sienna bleed into it after I add it. So it almost looks like the same color as the shadow. Okay. It's almost the same color, really. Looks the same. Okay, so I'm just going to let that soak into the paper a little bit, and when it's soaked in and it's still damp the way this is here, then I'm going to add a bit of this burnt sienna to give it the appearance of a rustiness. Okay, so I don't want things to bleed into each other, and the blue isn't quite done yet, so I'm not going to do this foliage. I'm going to move down and do the buildings below, so that they keep the colors from bleeding in. So I see a sort of a grayed taupe color down there, so I'm going to use a bit of brown, a bit of this burnt umber, a bit of white, and use a tiny bit of black. Yep. In here. And it goes halfway across the bottom of this building. Weirdly. And over here. And then a bit over here. Okay, and then in the background is that is this sort of terracotta colored building. I don't want it to be too bright, so I'm gonna dull it down a little bit with some white. do the whole face of it, just like that. And next to it is another beigey kind of color. I'm not going to make it let it be too bright. I'll use this one. Okay, and then we have these terracotta roofs. I want to be careful that it doesn't touch the blue and bleed in there. And this roof here. So I'm a little nervous because I think it will bleed into that blue. So I'm going to wait on that. And I'm going to do the canal now. So the canal is kind of a seaweedy kind of green color. And there's some shadow right at the edge. And there's some shadow just in front of the boat. And then there's a big shadow right across that I'm going to ignore. So, let's see here. It's a bit of a bluey green, like a turquoisey color. A lot of white in there and a lot of black in there, I think. It's a gray, it's a grayed turquoise. Maybe I need a bit more green now. Yeah, that's looking more like it. Okay, so I'm going to just do a swath of this color and then I'm going to put in some shadow on top of it while it's still wet. So, just like this. And I'm leaving that little white piece of foam. And I'm not going right to the edges, I'm just going to do something like that. And now I'm going to put in a bit of the shadow. So I'm going to darken up the color I already have. Whoop, too dark. No, that looks pretty, that looks about right actually. It is quite dark. I'm going to let that bleed underneath it. So I'm going to just tilt this up a bit, which means you're not going to be able to see it, but that's okay. I'll put it down in a second. And there's a bit of shadow in front of this boat and back here. Oh, I just covered my white. Oh well. Now I'm not totally happy with how it didn't bleed the way I was hoping it would bleed, so I'm going to go in again. Mix this color again and just go in again. See if I can get it to bleed a bit. Too gray still. The black is really, it's like, you just touch it and you get a lot. A bit more green. Okay, I'm going to go over this again. There. Okay, that's a bit better. I like that better. So it's a little darker at the edge of the canal. Okay. That's good. I'm happy with that. If I add a little bit, it's just that it was so dry. It wasn't wet enough. So if I put a bit more dark in right now, now it's going to bleed. Yeah. A little bit better. There, you can see it's just, actually I'm not going to tilt it. I'm just going to leave it. That's good. I like how that's bleeding. Okay. So let's have a look at the blues. Blues are dry now. Okay, so now I'm going to do the trees, and the trees the plants themselves seem to be about all the same color. the leaves on all the vines and the trees in behind seem to be all about the same color. It's just that they're appearing to be different based on whether there's shadows or where the light is hitting it. But the leaf itself, you can tell, is almost all the same color. And so I'm going to just change, I'm just going to make some gradations in the color to show that where the light is hitting it and where the shadow is. Do we have questions?
Yes, from Ramona Wickstrom. She said, it looks like you use your white lots. Do you find it makes the colors more opaque?
It does, yep. But, I mean, so some artists are against using black and they're against using white. In watercolor, they don't want you to use either one. They want you to mix your black with the burnt sienna and the ultramarine blue, and they don't want you to use white. They, try to argue that you should just use the white of the paper and so on. But it's hard to get a pink just with a thin red. So I don't, can't seem to get, it's not possible to get a real pink just with a thin red. You have to put some white in there to get that right, to get that hue. And so yeah, I use white, and I'm not ashamed to say. And also I use black. Lots of artists don't like to use black. They say, oh, well, the craziest argument I've heard is the Impressionists didn't use black. Well, they did in the early days. Just look at Van Gogh's shoe, and you'll see that he used black and brown in the early days. But that's not an argument. I'm not an Impressionist painter in oils, and so that's not a good argument for not using black. So that's just to explain to you my thinking about black and about white. I use both. So now back to trees. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, back to trees. I can see that where the light is hitting the top of these trees in here is a lighter hue of green, and then where it is in the shadow. And so there's like a sort of a gradation here from a really light green to mid green to a dark green down here in the shadows. And I'm going to do that by starting with yellow, actually, with a kind of, I think this is a quin gold. And I'm going to put that on the top of the edge, the top edge of all of this foliage that's here. Queen gold. Should have mixed maybe a bit more, but that's okay. Keep it as wet as possible. I'm dabbing so that it sucks the paint, the water off the paintbrush. And now I'm going to add, just going to build on that, add a darker green, sort of a mid green. That's a really kind of artificial green. So I'm going to make it a bit more yellow. Yellowy green. And I'm going to go in below that, leaving a little bit of the yellow right on the edge, letting it just kind of bleed. So I'm going to put lots of layers of paint on this foliage part to try to build up the shadows underneath. And I'm just going to leave, as you can see, just a little bit of that quin gold on the edge. And I'm going to add a bit of black to it. Just darken. I'm just going to get a little bit darker and darker. Maybe a bit.
So Ramona says she enjoys using white, but black feels too gritty for her.
Okay. Well, it depends what you're painting as well. Like, it just depends. It's very circumstantial. So now I'm letting it kind of flow into each other. So I'm going to just let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with even darker towards the bottom of, except for here, the foliage. I'm going to put some bits going down. Yeah. A let that dry a tiny bit. Now, the fun part, I'm going to do the sky. And the sky is a lot bluer blue than the shadows that we used. So I'm going to clean up a little area here. And I'm going to get clean water. I'll be right back. Dripped water. I'm getting fresh tissue as well. Drip some water here. Okay. Now, can I see how I'm lined up? Not bad. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go in with a deeper blue and a lot of water so that it flows. And because I really like the blue of this. Sorry, I like the blue of this sky. It's beautiful.
I think your paint pans are a little out of the camera. So just pull everything over this way.
Okay. So I made quite a little pool of blue here. And I don't know what the proper name of this blue is. I have no idea. I don't remember when I put it in there. And I'm not going to go right to the edge of the paper. But it's a different blue from the shadows, because the shadows we put some red in there. And so this is more of a true blue. And I'm going to layer it on pretty thick. Not thickly, but I'm going to put a lot of water so that it flows, and a fair amount of pigment.
Catherine says she's looking forward to trying it. I think, Catherine, you're gonna paint later, right? That's very exciting.
So I'm just letting this cool. And the pigment will flow where it wants to flow. So there's really no clouds in this sky, and that's okay. If there were, I would do this differently. If there were like any variation in color, I would do it differently. I think this will look pretty cool. I'm just tilting it to let the paint flow a little bit. Okay, just tilt that a little. Okay, so as you can see, I have I haven't gone to the edge. The thing about going to the edge is that I'm lifting off some of this paint that leaked in. The thing about going to the edge is, first of all, if you sketch right to the edge of your page, it's going to take way longer to finish your sketch. So if you leave some white space, your sketch is that much smaller and you can finish it that much quicker. Okay, I'm going to quickly go into this green because it's still a tiny bit wet. And I'm going to just add some water here. I'm going to make it a darker green. It's almost a very deep dark green now. I kind of waited a bit too long. That's okay. So I just want to try to give it the impression that this is where the shadow is, at the bottom, like the underneath side. of the tree that's here. And it just looks like blobs right now, but we're going to go in later with some scribbly line to make it appear like a tree. Look like a tree, more like a tree. And so I'm dabbing, and the reason I'm dabbing is because I want to leave behind a little puddle of paint. I want it to suck the paint off my paintbrush. So I'm dabbing it so that I'll leave behind this paint. And what I'm trying to accomplish right now is giving it a sense of shadow on the bottom side, the underneath side of the vines or whatever these things are that we're looking at. And so, okay, so right now it just looks like a blob of green, but that's okay because I'm going to go in later with my pen, and that I'll define it a little bit more with my pen. And I'm just tilting to get that blue to move down a little bit. Just a little, and then it'll probably puddle again. Okay, so in terms of color, I think I'm almost finished with color. The rest is going to be line work. And except I forgot this terracotta roof over here. Well, I didn't forget, but I postponed. I postponed the terracotta roof here.
The darker green under the trees really make the trees pop out.
Okay.
Very 3D.
It will look even more in a minute. Okay. So that's all I'm going to do now for paint. Except I think I'm going to paint the inside of this window. And I'm going to do that just by mixing a little bit of this ultramarine with a little bit of black. So you get like a really deep. I'm just going to put that in the middle. So there's lots of ways you could do a window. I know Ian Fennelly does them in using his Tombow. Yeah, but this window I want to do just with that sort of real deep navy. And I think I'm going to do this other window here the same, this one. Because this is actually, I think, is a window. It might be a doorway, but I think there's glass in front of it. And I'm just dabbing to let the paper pull the water and the paint off my paintbrush. And then you can see behind, so I'm working carefully. I'm going to fill in some of these spaces with this color. Just like that. Okay, I think that is good. Yeah, so all the other windows that you see down here, I'm going to use a black pen just to darken them. And I'm just tilting now to let that paint, this water area here, move to the top, and then I'm going to put it down again, and it'll probably just soak in right where it is. Okay, I am happy with that. I'm probably going to put a little paint on this boat. I'm just going to use this window black that I used. Okay.
So Paul is asking, were you going to do something more about the patina in the domes?
Yes, I was. Thank you, Paul. Where were you 5 minutes ago? Did he ask that 5 minutes ago?
Maybe because there's a little bit of a delay, so.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Sorry, Paul. Yep, I was gonna do that while it's still wet, and I did not. So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it with a watercolor pencil.
Paul says, waiting for you to do something in the domes.
I know.
The heartache.
I know. So, I've got a watercolor pencil.
Yeah, he says 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, Paul. You know, you can't get good help these days.
Such a 5-minute delay from.
I know. So I'm just going to use a kind of burnt ochre watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to put it, but you know, you really can't see much, but let me just zoom in here. Yeah, and it's actually not even that reddy. It's almost a gray, browny color. So maybe I'll go with more of this in here. I'm just gonna rub some pigment on there from this. This is a Faber-Castell watercolor pencil, Polychromos. Used a lot by our buddy Santi Sales, who is lovely and wonderful. And if you don't know Santi Sales, you are losing out. You should really look up Santi Sales. He's a wonderful artist and super, super lovely guy from Spain. And I worked with him. We did a workshop together in Mexico in 2020. And he was fantastic. So I'm just rubbing in some color from this polychromo onto the dome to kind of give it that kind of rusty look. And I'm going to put some more line on the dome as well. Just waiting for the watercolor to dry. So I'm not seeing that up here. So I'm just going to leave it. I can only see it there. Yeah. Okay. And there's like a bit under here. I'm gonna build that up because it's kind of more blacky. And yeah, we're good. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to be really careful because this paint is not dry. So I'm gonna try to do some pen work without touching the wet paint part. So this is dry. So I'm gonna just darken my little arched windows in here. And there's some brickwork around them, but you can hardly see it, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to do the brickwork around them. And in here, this little thing, whatever it is, and up here. Now in here I can see the inside of this dome like this, and this part is quite black. I'm just going to do it in pen. And you really can't see the other side. So this is in shadow as well, and I'll deal with that after. And I think, oh yeah, so this is that shell kind of work again. And here. And here too. Okay, and where else do we have black? This could be done with like a Tombow pen, but it's really small, and those Tombow pens are quite big. I'm gonna just darken this. Well, I'll do it when I can touch the paper. Can I touch the paper right now? Okay. I'm gonna do this shadow underneath the terracotta. There and here.
So Ginny Style says, I've added some shadows under the foliage along the stonework at the water's edge.
Cool. That's great, Ginny. So I'm just going to use my pen to blacken these windows because it's just too small to work with a Tombow brush pen. And the same with these oval shapes. And I hope you guys will all post on social media with the hashtag Studio56Boutique so I can see what everybody's doing. That would be super fun. And then this is a dark, unseen. So there's some kind of eaves trough or something there. And this is dark here. This is in shadow. I'm just going to use my pen. And all these windows. Well, these two windows, anyway, these two windows on this side seem to be boarded up. And here. Here. So I'm just going to put some lines down. And then maybe I'll do something squiggly. I don't know, we'll see. Or maybe I'll just blacken it. You know what, maybe I'll just blacken it because you can't tell what it is anyway. Too small. Too small. Or maybe it's just my bad eyes, I don't know. There I go, talking to myself again. It's so weird to talk to yourself.
We love you need some, you can talk to me always, Mom, you know.
Okay. So I'm just going to color in these windows a little bit. And people are not asking questions because they are working. I think people are working hard right now. And this fellow's pants are kind of black, or at least they're very dark. And okay, what else are we going to do? This window over here, make it kind of dark. I am waiting for my watercolor to dry so I can go in and do some more line work and put my hand on the paper. But it's not quite, still a bit wet in this area. Let me see. Yeah. And it's quite dark up here. So I'm just going to do it in black because it's just too small to see. And the same with over here, which a little bit wet still. Okay, and this over here is like a dark window or something in here that I didn't do, and I think I might have to wait till the paint dries. Okay, and now this, I made a mistake earlier with this doorway here. So what did I do? Let's see. So it kind of goes like this. You know, when you make a mistake in your drawing, you can just fix it. It's not a big deal. I'm going to just darken this whole area. It's like a kind of doorway in here. Okay, now in here it's also quite dark, so I'm just going to darken in here, this whole area. And soon we'll be able to finish do our final touches on our final touches on our, I'm just going to darken this whole area, on our foliage and on the bits that we missed on the buildings. How is everybody doing? Give me some feedback. Are people keeping up? Are you ahead of me? Are you behind me? Are people adding watercolor still? Are people doing black and white? What is happening? Any comments? No, people are working hard. Okay.
We're a little delayed in everything.
Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that so far. I'm just looking to see, it's still a little bit damp in here. And, but I am actually pretty happy with that. Now, the bits that I haven't painted are this area here has got some kind of decorative little rectangular shapes. So I'm going to draw them in pencil first, because I don't trust myself to make straight lines without a little practice.
Joe says he's working hard.
Good. That's great, Joe. Am I making straight lines? I think I am. So each one is a little bit wider because it's coming closer to the viewer. And there's probably one here, but something like that. All right, I'm going to draw that in a pen.
And Mo says, correcting my awkward perspectives with buildings.
Yep, that happens sometimes. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's erase this pencil bit here. And so I don't want to put the red in here on this boat, so I'm gonna just put in. I'm just gonna use this burnt sienna and just something that kind of doesn't distract from the buildings, is my point. Okay, now I was using a 0.3. I'm going to try using a 0.1 if I can get it to flow. Let's see how it's flowing here. Okay, not bad, not bad. And I'm going to put in some, just some of these lines up here in this dome. There. And this dome, this other dome on top of the bell tower also has that. To zoom in to see it though. Yeah. Okay. And it looks like there's a bit of a, where's my other pen? It looks like there's a bit of a terracotta roof up here. It looks a little bit like that to me.
So Tracy said, fascinated just watching your process and all the layers that go into it.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Okay, so I'm gonna use a smaller paintbrush and oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, the tip fell off. And just put in a little bit of this shadow. This is not my shadow. This one is my shadow. A little bit of this shadow.
Well, perhaps pull everything over to the left a little.
Yeah.
Maybe even another inch. Yeah.
Just in here. And this is in shadow up here. This is what I forgot to do this part before. So this is the sunny side, but underneath here is in shadow. inside this arched opening for the bells on the top of this. So now I'm putting in a little bit of shadow in this arch that wasn't there before, using a smaller brush. And under here, and there's a bit of shadow right to here. So I'm gonna do another layer of shadow, because we did the whole one side in the same uniform saturation of color. I did too much black before in the first pass, and now I'm gonna go back the second pass and deepen the shadow where it needs it. So, such as under here. And I'm using a smaller paintbrush, and I'm dabbing so that it picks the paint, picks the water, pulls the water off the brush and the pigment along with it. I'm going to add a bit more in here. And underneath this this little decorative piece is shadow. It's not going to be perfect, that's okay.
So Reiki says, looks great. Are you going to paint in some reflections in the water?
No, I'm probably not gonna do that. It's a good idea. You should do it if you want. So along here you can see that there's shadow, like a little bit of shadow on the edge of where these flat pillars are, but it's just too small for me to paint that. So I'm just gonna leave it out. I see that it's there, but I'm gonna leave it out because I've drawn it too small to do that. And I'm gonna put a bit more shadow in here. It's a little darker. And right here, a lot darker. And in here, and in here, and in here a bit more.
So Anne Sibley wants to clarify if this drawing is 3-point or 2-point perspective.
So this is, I would say it's probably slightly 3-point. I mean, if you look at the image, because it's probably, the photo is probably slightly wider at the bottom than at the top, but it's so slight that I haven't bothered to try to show you that third point of perspective, which would be way up here, like way up that way. So I've just drawn it as a 2-point perspective. Each of the buildings has their vanishing points over here at my eye level. But this probably could be 3-point, but it's just so slight that it's not worth worrying about right now. So that's how I've drawn it. Here, this is quite a bit darker in here.
Jenny did something creative. She said, believe it or not, there's actually some white cross-hatching in the big window. So she used a white pen to just barely indicate that. That's so creative.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do it in black, in a thin black, but if you did it in white, that's fantastic. Good for you. Good idea.
Yeah, that's creative.
Okay, and I'm putting a bit more shadow in here. Here. There's some line missing. We're going to add it in a minute. And okay, I'm going to deepen this even more, my shadow color, and bring in some more darks in this in here, and in here, And underneath here, a lot darker in here. And probably just do a little, oh no, got my finger in the paint.
It's like magic.
Well, it's still showing, but
It's okay.
that's okay. It's only a piece of paper. Okay, so let me just look and see how we are doing. Okay, so I have a little bit of shadow down here, which I'm going to do as gently as I can. It's a bit more shadow that I'm painting on than is actually there, but that's okay. Okay, so keeping in mind that I know that there's wet spots on this sketch. At the top up here is wet still, here. I'm going to try to do some pen work on this foliage. Now I'm using a 1 and I'm going to get scribbly, and just to indicate that that's what it is. And I'm just putting some scribbles in here. And I'm going to put darker scribbles in the shadow area, which would be right in here. You can see that this is a little bit darker on this side. Yeah. And towards the bottom. And yeah.
I sort of think scribbly is our word of the day.
Is it?
Yeah. Scribbly spots, scribbly lines.
So I'm going to indicate the shadow by going a little bit darker down at the bottom. On sort of the bottom left side of everything is where the shadow is. So this is such a small pen, it's only a 0.1, that I have to kind of hold it straight up rather than like this. I'm holding it straight up to get the ink to flow, because there's not much of a nib there. It's really tiny. So I'm just putting in some scribbles to indicate that there's like, it's like a texture. It's like adding a texture to indicate that it's a leaf. There's some kind of foliage that is leafy. And it looks a bit messy right now, but it will clean up in 1 second. Well, in a few minutes. In 1 second.
Your scribbles are shaking the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here, you can have a look when you're ready.
Oh, I'm shaking the whole camera. Okay, well.
Putting your whole soul into it.
Yeah. So I'm drawing on top of the paint, and that's why it didn't really matter so much what's underneath, how the, this line here and everything. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to see it once I put the scribbly lines on top, and I knew that, and that's why I wasn't, it looked a bit, messy, but that's okay because I knew when I'm done you won't really see that. It's just the background for the pen work. Okay, so I put in lots of scribbly lines here. I'm going to switch to a 0.3 to do some darker stuff along the edges because I want a bit thicker of a line to make it look like there's these tendrils coming down and there's some shadow on the left side of them and underneath them. There, does that look like a bit more like tendrils to you? I think so. There I go, talking to myself again. Wow. Good thing you're here, Caitlin, otherwise I'd be so lonely.
Aww.
Just me and myself.
And the grumbly beagle.
Yeah. So I'm putting darker lines to indicate the shadow on the on the left side and the bottom of these tendrils that are hanging down, just using a kind of scribbly line. And they go right up to the top over this doorway.
So it is quite shaky.
Is it? I'm sorry if it's shaky.
Yeah.
Just pause for a second so people can see
Yeah.
what I'm doing. So I think you can see it looks a lot more like actual foliage and vines hanging down than it did a minute ago. Okay, so in this area here, we're gonna go back to the smaller pen for the top. Just to put in that texture, to make it look like leaves. And then when I get down to the shadowy part, I'm gonna go with a thicker pen with the plus, with the 0.3. This is the 0.1. Faber-Castell. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the 0.3 to do the bottom part of these trees. So did I mention that this tower is 44 meters high? That's 144 feet. Which I think is kind of cool. It's really beautiful. I love this tower. And if you guys have enjoyed this free demo, I would like to invite you to a free interview. I'm going to be interviewing a fantastic sketcher. Jörg Asselborn is a German sketcher and illustrator. He has a new book out called Remains of the Journey, and I'm going to be interviewing him on Sunday, June 26th at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to be looking at lots of examples of his work. And to get your free tickets, you have to go to www.studio56boutique.com and find it there on the website. There's probably more to the URL than that, but I can't remember the rest of it. Just go to www.studio56boutique.com and you can get your free ticket there. And now Jörg does fantastic work. It's just so beautiful, so funky. And he does buildings, he does objects, and does he do people? I can't remember now if he does people. And his work is just absolutely gorgeous. He's super, super talented. An amazing urban sketcher and artist. And I can't say enough nice things. You really have to see his work. You really do. You just have to see his work. That's all there is to it. And that's going to be on June 26th. So I hope that you guys will all come along to see that.
And I've just put the link for it in the chat. So if you're looking for it later, just go there and you can sign up.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Helpful to have your tech elf beside you.
I knew there was a reason I gave birth to you.
It's for this one moment.
This one moment.
Right.
Was it? I knew. And it was Caitlin's birthday yesterday.
Oh.
So, she's so nice. She's actually, I think she's just still recovering from her birthday party with all her friends at her house. And there was some imbibing going on. That's all I'm going to say.
We had Pims.
We had Pims.
We celebrated the Jubilee.
Mm-hmm. And so it was her birthday, and she's still here helping me. So nice of her to do that.
I'm feeling just fine.
Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do for the foliage. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks kind of cool, and I hope you like it. I think it kind of gives you the impression of foliage. I love sketching topiary. I love having a solid piece of foliage to sketch. I know Sherry Blaukoff, for example, when she sketches trees, she talks about showing the branches and allowing a little air to go through so that a little escape hatch for the birds to fly through, which is super cute and super charming. I like it when the foliage is a shape, just a solid shape. I think that's kind of cool. I really like that, and that's why I like doing topiary. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do now is, I'm still having a bit of a wet spot right there, but I'm gonna risk it all and put in the 4 lines in this window that I see. Remembering that the cross lines also have to line up with, they're all following the same vanishing point. Those cross lines are going to be reaching to the same vanishing point. And I think this window over here also has some kind of leading in it, or bars or something on it. And this is dry, so I'll put some lines in here. And there's some of that little dental work somewhere I saw. Oh, I was missing some lines. That's right, I erased some lines in here. And, oh yeah, and up here, erase the line. And this has some, goes like that. And probably make this like that. And I'm gonna just darken this window, this arched window that's up here. Just using my pen. And I think we're getting there. I think we're definitely getting there. What do you guys think? Are we getting there? I think we're getting there. I guess, I mean, I could put a few little bits on here to indicate that it's a terracotta roof. And I'm going to definitely sketch this in October when I go there with the amazing Scott Christian Saba. And I hope that some of you would be interested in joining us. It's going to be super fun. We're going to visit the Doge's Palace, the Doge's Prison. We're going to ride the Vaporettos and let the wind blow in our hair. We are going to climb the towers, and we are going to sketch the winged lions. We're going to just drop and sketch wherever we can. And we're going to stay safe from COVID, of course. And I've already run now 6 workshops since the start of COVID. And so far, everyone has come home safe. But I think, you know, really I can't take the credit. People are being very careful. And we're masking when we're in crowds and so on. And that makes all the difference. So, do I have any more to do? Anybody have any ideas about what needs still to be done on this sketch? Have I forgotten something? I very well might have, so remind me if you think I have.
Well, Joe Perry says that they daren't do any more to theirs.
Okay. So I think under here is a lot darker. Okay, I think that I need a little shadow right here. And I think we're done, guys. I'm happy. Is everybody happy? All right. The finishing touch, don't forget to take a picture and hashtag Studio 56 Boutique, and then I will find it. And there's my finishing touch.
Nancy says, looks beautiful.
There we go.
Nancy Stone.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I think we're done.
Yay!
Great job, everyone. Wonderful. Come with me to Venice. I would love to sketch with you this exact scene or something similar. And I think it would be super fun. And thank you everybody for coming. Caitlin says I should show my face. Hi, it's really me. Thanks for coming, everyone. I really appreciate you coming and sketching with me, and I hope you had a lot of fun. I certainly did. And there's our sketch. All right.
And Paul says, thanks, Brenda. And Mo says, great
Paul.
demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ginny and Anne. And
Ken is asking if you can post a scan of your drawing so it can be seen life size.
oh yeah, sure I will. Sure. Thank you, Tracy, for coming. And thanks, Ramona. That's okay, you can go to the bottom. Thanks everybody for coming. I really enjoyed spending this time with you. And I hope you had a good time too. And maybe I'll do another demo at some point in the future. I think it would be fun to demonstrate curvilinear perspective. I love drawing in curvilinear perspective. I think it's super fun. And so maybe I'll do a demo of that at some point. Thanks, Joe, for coming, and Nancy and Deborah and Ramona and Mary. Ken, buddy, say hi to Sandy for me. So glad that you're here. And thanks everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Great. Okay. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Thank
Enjoy
you.
your Sunday.
Bye.